All right. It's super fun to be here with you guys today. Anyone hiring? Raise your hand if you plan to hire in the next 12 months. Okay, we got quite a few hands. Okay, anyone looking for a job? Seth, stop. Don't let that man out of the room. There's no escape, Seth. We're so excited about the prospect of growth, and hiring is a big part of that. And you saw a lot of hands go up for that. And so we're going to talk a little bit about attracting top talent for our workshop today. Now, I'm going to make this interactive. So do we have our mic runners mic'd? And because I am going to ask people to make comments, so make sure you have some of those. And if you do comment, please make sure that you wait till the mic gets to you so that the people online can hear. It feels like everything's just accelerating, especially when it comes to hiring. There are so many things to consider. You got to make sure you are at the right place at the right time, with the right candidate, with the right skill set, with the right motivation, with the right culture, with the right set of compensation and incentives. There's so many things that have to come together for this to work. And they have to happen in concert in a way that comes together to make some really, let's say it's almost like music. And so I'm going to share my favorite band with you. This is OK Go. If you haven't seen OK Go, they are the most creative band on earth. And this is one of their short songs. And as you go through this, I want you to just imagine that you're hiring, and you have to have all those individual pieces come together in order, in time, and in concert with the person that you're trying to actually get to, and see if this looks familiar. Do you enjoy that? Yeah, it's fun. Okay, I want you to stop and think for just a minute. When was the last time you hired someone? What were all the things you had to go through to find that right person? And how did you feel when you found the right fit? That special person that was just right for your company, for your culture, for your customers, for the job that needed to be done. Anyone want to comment? Can you share how you felt when you found that right person, that right fit? Okay, you need the mic. Can you give us some detail with that? AJ?
Yeah, it's kind of a magical experience when you get just the right person with the, like you said, the right fit, the right time. There's less training, less oversight, and there's a lot more energy and strategy that goes into that position that that you didn't plan on, and additional ideas that come to the forefront that you didn't even think of. So it's awesome when that happens.
Excellent. Yeah. And when that happens, it's kind of like these guys, and they're like at the end, like leaping through the jets of paint, and you saw their faces were super excited and happy. Everything had just come together in one take for all these different elements that had to happen. That's how I feel when I find the right person that's the perfect fit for our organization. And I can point to person after person after person in RevRoad and say, right fit, right fit, right fit. Jason Dance is a great example here. Jason has spent his whole career building companies and teams and helping them develop revenue streams and distribution networks and partnerships, and putting in place systems and processes to make sure that those teams are successful and that they're well compensated and that they're motivated and excited and happy and integrated. And now he does that full time for our portfolio of 55 plus companies. That makes a huge difference, finding that person who's at just the right stage in their career, and his passion about being here, his addition to the leadership, his positivity, his can-do attitude, his approach to taking on new companies and the challenges that they have. It makes me feel like I'm one of those guys jumping through the paint, loving it, okay? So I start with that because I want to begin with the end in mind. As Stephen Covey always says, we want that to be the end of what we're doing, and to work together for decades, and to have that be a successful thing that we can do over and over and over again. So how do we do that? What goes into that? Let's have our mic runners come to the front here, and so you can see who's going to raise their hands, and then let's just put some components in there. What do you do to make sure you hire the right person? Who will raise their hand and share what you do? Kenny.
The best hires require lots of thought, and when you do find that person, it is kind of magical, right? You already know where it's going in the very beginning, and sometimes you're surprised on the downside. But the best hires, you just know there's a fit right away.
Okay, and give us something specific you do.
Something specific I do. Do I like to be around them? Like
Awesome.
right off the bat.
Yeah, that's a big part of fit, right? Is there a cultural fit? Is there a personality fit here? Okay, do I enjoy being around them? Good. What else? Who else? Go for it.
Typically, I do a couple of different interview styles, one of them specifically being a cognitive interview to kind of break down how they think about a problem and the steps they take to solve it. Not specifically to my problem, but to something that they've faced as they've grown in their career.
Awesome. Derek, I appreciate you shared that. So giving them a cognitive interview and finding out something they've done. We'll talk more about that, the power of making sure that you focus on things that they have accomplished in the past rather than hypotheticals in the future. Okay, who else? Let's get specific. Brent?
So I think an honest interview process is important. And what I mean by that is they'll be more honest with you as you're honest with them. No company's perfect, right? And so just laying out there, here are the things that people really like about this. Here's some of the challenges that we're facing.
Awesome. So letting yourself share some things that are maybe a couple warts about the company or yourself, that builds credibility. That authenticity creates an honesty, right? That lets them feel safe to be honest too. I love that you shared that. I was talking with Kenny actually the other day, day before yesterday, and he was sharing this crazy job interview he went through at Adobe, and that it was a panel interview that they were like really aggressively going after things with him, and he turned to them and he said, "Are you trying to find my weaknesses? Because I have a lot of them, and I can just tell you about them if you'd like." And that's a great example of how honesty can just kind of cut through things very quickly and get to the meat of get to the bone of what you wanted to discuss. Okay. The other tie I want to make here is that when you find that person, it's special. That is rare. It's hard. Like finding the person that has all those qualities that you're looking for, the characteristics, the resilience, the grit, the skill set, the cognitive capabilities, the skill fit, the timing, the compensation, all those kinds of things is really special. And in a few minutes, you're going to hear from two founders who have built a business around providing things that are special. And I'll tie several things during the presentation to that. So let's go to this first part. So this is our end in mind, right? We welcome our new team member. This is something we do every time we hire during our Monday team meetings. We welcome our two new team members, and it's the right person, the right one. Keep that in mind. This is what we're looking for. So who should you be looking for? What do you think? When you go to hire, you can look for skills, you can look for character, you can look for a track record of results. There are lots of other things, but this is just a general categorization that I do. Which of those things can you train for? Skills, you can train for skills, okay? Can you train for anything else? What's that? Seth says you can build it. You can build a track record of success with them, right? If they're a newbie. And you can build character. Thank you. Yeah, we're actually big believers that like every single person in this room and every person in the world is actually a child of God and has infinite capacity and infinite capability. The real question is can you build that fast enough for this particular job for this company? And in many cases, the answer is kind of got to have the basics there, right? It's really hard to hire someone that is still trying to build honesty or is still trying to build other kinds of characteristics that, like hard work, things like that. So do we believe you can build that? We do. We just don't think you can usually do it in that time frame for a business setting. So definitely have to screen for that, right? And if they don't have those things, then you have to say, sorry, this isn't the right fit at the right time for you or for us. Okay, so that's a high level. We definitely look for the character aspects first and foremost. That's why you see our values are focused on grit, growth, and gratitude. Those are all things that are inherent attitudes that have already been established, or habits and routines that have already been established. We definitely feel like we can train in skills areas. Thank you. And have the ability to do that over and over again. So what to look for? We have a shortcut here. We call it the 5 H's: head, hands, heart, humor, and humility. Each of those means something to every single person in RevRoad and to most RevRoad portfolio companies. Head is smarts, intellect, education, and in addition to that, street smarts and common sense, making sure that they're intellectually curious, constantly learning, growing in those areas. Hands is skill sets, it's work ethic, it's resilience, it's grit, and talent. And then heart, we look for someone who's passionate about what they do, what we do. And that can be about a product, it can be about a company, it can be about helping their colleagues succeed. It can even be about making money. That's cool too. We like people who are money motivated. It can be about creating jobs, and that's what lots of us are here doing in our businesses every day. Obviously, humor is something that ties directly with what Kenny commented on. Do you enjoy working with them? Usually if they have a good sense of humor, yeah, you're going to enjoy working with them, because that means that they can take things seriously, but not necessarily themselves, don't have to take themselves as serious, and can enjoy life with you. And then lastly is the most important one, which is humility. This is really key. If somebody just feels like they know it and they're right all the time and they've arrived, it's really hard to work with those kinds of people. If they're not open to the possibility that maybe somebody else is right and they're not right. And maybe there's a new perspective that they could gain. So that's something we look for on an ongoing basis. And so if you're looking for a shortcut, the 5 H's is one that will really help you as you hire. Where this is important, do the top qualified candidates that you know of hang out in the pool of the unemployed? Do they? Like, raise your hand if you think they hang out in the pool of the unemployed. Okay, that's good. You're listening. All right. Yeah, they don't, right? They're engaged, they're active, they're working, they're already employed. So if you're going to recruit for top talent, does posting a job where people go look who are unemployed usually get you the right person? It doesn't. Isaac's got it. It doesn't. So you have to go find those people. That's why it's called attracting top talent. And to do that, you got to see first if they're a good fit. And typically that means you've got to go out and you got to be a part of what's happening with your industry. I'll share one quick example. I love trade shows, because trade shows, you get to see all your competitors. And guess what? You get to see all your competitors' best people, because that's oftentimes who they will send to the most important trade shows. So I just go meet with my competitors' best people at the trade shows. It's really weird. They kind of go, "What are you doing?" And I say, "Well, I just want to take you to lunch just to get to know you," and take them to lunch and end up becoming friends with them. Genuine friends, like no agenda, okay? Dan Yowsi is a good example of this. He was with my top competitor in the Bay Area. He was their senior vice president of sales, and we were fierce competitors. But I would go every trade show I would take him out to lunch. And I remember one day, it's probably 3 years after we became friends. I said, "So how are things for you?" And he said, "It's really tough." He said, "I live in San Diego, but I'm commuting to the Bay Area. I hate my life. I hate my schedule." He had 8 daughters, and he said he didn't see them from Monday until Friday night. He did not enjoy this role. And I said, "Well, what do you really want?" And he said, "I really want time with my family." And I said, "Well, I I don't have like an SVP role for you, but I have a rep role if you want more time with your family. And do you know what? He actually came to work for me and became from senior vice president in his company to a rep. And he made 3 times as much money. And he had all this time every night with his kids. This is really important because about 3 years after that, and he became one of our top selling reps. About 3 years after that, I got a call that he was in the hospital. He had gotten up during the halftime at Super Bowl to go get a snack and had passed out, and his wife, Amy, took him to the hospital. And they found a tumor about the size of an egg right behind his ear, pushing on his brain. And they said he had 4 months to live. And Dan is an amazing man. He took that 4 months and he filmed videos for his kids at certain ages. He wrote his life story. He spent time with me and others of his friends, and he ended up living about 5.5 months. And he just commented on, I'm so glad that I chose time, right? That I wasn't commuting for the last 3 years to the Bay Area. So fit is about important things, okay? It's not just about, can you do the job, can you hit the quota? It's about what's important. So I encourage you to look for real fit as you hire. Okay, this is important too. Your vibe attracts your tribe. If you're enthusiastic, you'll probably attract people who are enthusiastic. If you're a Debbie Downer, if you're just constantly negative, that's what you're going to attract. And so just check your vibe and see what kind of tribe you would be attracting. Are you attracting people who see the possible? Are you inspiring to people, or do you bring them down? Just make sure that you're setting the level of what you want to hire. I was just back here chatting with Boyd, who's the interim CEO over at Phone Soap, and he was talking about a challenge he has with a particular employee who let's just say there's a challenge, and he said, I'm setting the standard. I'm telling him, I don't expect you to do anything I won't do, and I'm doing this thing, so now you need to do this thing. So we always have to check ourselves first. All right, how? And I'm going to turn the mic over for a few minutes to our friends from Pitch 59. Aaron is going to talk to us about one of the hows for attracting top talent and helping you recruit incredible people. So let's give it up for Aaron.
Thank you. So I'm Aaron Short. I'm the Director of Operations for Pitch 59. And I thought I had 10 minutes, but Derrin said I have 5. Good news. He already talked about a lot of the stuff I was going to talk about with the complexities of hiring. So what I'd like to do is get right into, let's go the other way. Some of the problems. So this information comes from SHRM, the Society for Human Resources Management. It really illustrates some of the challenges that we have with modern recruiting systems. Okay. Oh, sorry. Is that better? Okay. So this illustrates some of the challenges we have with modern recruiting systems. One of the biggest challenges is, and Derrin already talked about this, is that there are a number of factors that we look for in top candidates, right? Modern recruiting systems tend to filter based on skills. That's about it, right? There's keywords, and if your candidates are not versed in SEO and promoting themselves, that you just may miss all the top candidates because they're filtered out. And we tend to make hiring decisions based on more emotional things, personality, cultural fit, things like that. So there's a real problem in the market, and we feel like we've got a great solution at Pitch 59. And that is, we lead with personality. We still give the candidates the opportunity to provide all their skill set, their track record, all of those things, but we flip the script and lead by humanizing the process, right? So candidates are able to, with resume pitch cards, which are free to anybody who wants one. Seth, you'll want one since you're the only one in the room that's in the market here. You can't. Okay, all right. We'll have to block you. But they are allowed to just come alive, for 59 seconds. That's where pitch 59 comes in. It's for 59 seconds. They get to pitch you, give you their best elevator pitch. On the other side of the spectrum, we have, you know, a problem where companies have a hard time really standing out in the job market as well. And job pitch cards allow the company to give their best elevator pitch, to share their culture, share the details about the jobs that they're posting, but really come alive to the candidates. It's just as big of a challenge for hiring companies to stand out in the job market as it is for candidates to stand out. And so our job pitch cards solve that problem. And what's really cool is if a candidate has a resume pitch card and they click that apply button, their application process is about 3 seconds, super fast. And as you saw with the SHRM data, a lot of applicants, if the application process is too fast or too long, takes too long, they'll just give up. They'll walk away. Okay, so little experiment here. I want you to get out your smartphones if you can and scan some of these QR codes. Let's see if it works. Okay, is it working for you guys? Awesome. While you're doing that, quick show of hands, who has the Pitch 59 app? All right, shame on the rest of you. But actually, it illustrates one of the advantages of using pitch cards. You don't have to have a Pitch 59 account. You don't have to have the app to view pitch cards. And they can share pitch cards. They can review pitch cards. But the biggest thing is that you can network them out. They're free there's no charges, no extra charges for clicks or shares or likes or any of those things. No pitch card, nobody can pay more to increase their ranking on our platform. It's a level playing field. And so anybody can get out there and network and get their name out there. You can share it on social media. You have the unique QR code for each pitch card. You have a unique link. It's just there's really no limitations. And one last thing I just wanted to share with you, there are other pitch card types. Okay, we're talking about recruiting top talent here today, and we think we have the solution to the problem. But we also have other pitch card types that represent your business or represent you as an individual, or if you have a nonprofit, we have a special pitch card just for that. And we're working on other pitch cards as well. So, any questions? Okay, if you want a demo, come find me, and I'll set you up with a demo for Pitch 59.
All right, let's hear it for Aaron. Thanks, Aaron. Oh, can I have that? Thank you. Nicely done. So we've talked about how special it is when you hire that right person. And we've talked about some tips and tricks, some pro elements on how you can do that. And you've seen a specific example of how you can put that into action. The next question is how do you keep that talent there once you have them? How do you make sure they feel valued? How do you make sure that they're challenged? How do you make sure they're compensated? How do you make sure that all the elements that need to come together for, just like in that music video at the beginning, happen in concert and at the same time? That's something we'll talk about in our next Top Talent Workshop, which will be coming up in 12 months, so look for that. We do this on a rotation. I also want to just share one thing before let me just ask, any questions? I think we're good, right? So let me just share this thing before I finish and turn the time over to Bree to introduce our guests, Isaac and Becky. I was in Florence, Italy once, and this person stopped me in the street and said, "Do you journal?" And I said, "Yeah, I do journal. I keep a journal." And they said, "But do you have this journal?" And he reached in his box and he pulled out this leather-bound, beautiful journal with handmade paper in it that was hand stitched. And I thought, no, I don't have one of those. And he said, you need one of these because the things you put in your journal are special and what you put it on should be just as special. And he was right. Like, good salesman. I bought it. I bought 2 of them. I was so excited. And I came home and I filled those journals as I journaled. And it was so interesting. When I finished, when I was getting close to to the end of that second journal, all I could think about is, oh crap, now where do I find another one of these? And I couldn't. I looked everywhere. Like, I looked on Italian sites, and finally I found it at Rustico. I found exactly what I was looking for. I found this special thing, and it was just like hiring the right person for the job. I hired the right tool for the job, and now I buy my journals from Rustico, and all my journals are leather bound with handmade paper and stitching, and it's just beautiful. My wallet is from them. And by the way, that happened years before I even knew these guys, okay? Because I just met them this morning. And so I'm sharing that with you to say this principle of making sure that we find the right fit for the job applies to more than just people. It can apply to companies and tools like Pitch 59. It definitely applies to the things that we're trying to do that are special in our lives. And we're going to hear more about that from our good friends Isaac and Becky here.